This video is to introduce the operation of S053 Silicone 3D printer. S053 is mainly used for moving and stacking objects through the three XYZ axes. The material is pushed through the upper cartridges, which are I-axis and E-axis from top to bottom. Next, we'll explain the steps one by one in the operation manual. Now this step is to install the software. First, open S053 folder in the USB flash drive and select Arduino 1.8.5 software to install. If Arduino 1.8.5 or above version is already installed, it is not necessary to install it. After finishing installing Arduino software, select Setup in Manufacturer folder for installation. If Setup application cannot be installed, select Manufacturer Installer application for installation. After installation, connect the USB cord to the printer and computer. Open Manufacturer, select the COM port, and click the Connect button. Copy and paste the serial code in S053 folder after the connection is complete, and click Validate. The system will show Welcome to Manufacturer after installing successfully. This step is start the machine and the connection. Make sure the voltage of the socket is 110 or 220 volts and plug in the power cord, but don't turn on the power switch. Click Printer Settings on the top right of the software and choose the printer type, which is S053. Select the COM port manually if it doesn't show up automatically under the Connection tab. Check if values are correct under the Extruder tab and Specification tab. The nozzle diameter is 0.4 millimeters. The depth, width, and height are 200, 150, and 100, respectively. Click OK after checking all of it. Next, press Connect on the top left of the software. The color will change from red to green after successful connection. If the connection is not successful, check the COM port under the Connection tab in Printer Settings. If it's still not connected, close the software and restart it. After the connection is complete, you can turn on the power switch. In addition, please pay attention to the emergency stop button on the top right side. If there is an emergency, please press the emergency stop button immediately to stop all the movements of the printer. Every time the emergency stop button is pressed, it is necessary to confirm if XYZ axes are returned to 0. Before starting the printer for the first time, we'll check the motors and sensors. The three sensors of XYZ axis are checked separately in the printer. X sensor is at the left of X-axis and shows green light when pressed. Y sensor is at the corner of the machine next to the left motor and shows green light as well when pressed. Z sensor is in front of the printing plate and shows red light when pressed. Next, enter M119. and a G-code input text field under Manual Control tab. You can type in capital words or not. Press the X sensor in the machine before sending the command. Press X sensor and send M119 at the same time. You can see the result down below in the log block. Besides, X-min, Y-min, and Z-min shown in the block are corresponding to X, Y, and Z sensor. According to the explanation in the manual, X-min will show triggered and represents the sensor is touched when press the sensor and send M119 at the same time. On the contrary, open means no contact. For example, when checking the X sensor, if it shows trigger when pressed and open when not pressed, it means the sensor is normal. Then use the same method to check the status of each axis by pressing the sensor and entering M119 command in the G-code input text field. After sensor checking is finished, we'll start the simple test of the motor. You can see the graphical operation interface of X, Y, Z axis under manual control. The movement of X, Y, Z axis can be operated by the interface. X and Y axis can control the nozzle to move left, right, front, and back. While the Z-axis can control the up and down movement of the printing plate. The unit of the movement is in millimeters. First, increase the X-axis 50 millimeters. And then the nozzle will move 50 millimeters to the right. Next, press Home X button to set the nozzle back to X0. Repeat the same steps for both Y-axis and Z-axis, and check if all of them are working normally. Next, proceed to the hardware installation and nozzle distance calibration steps. First, screw the cartridge A and cartridge B in a horizontal way into the cartridge seat clockwise. And make sure both are screwed tightly. The material will be squeezed out of the plastic tube and left to stand for more than 15 minutes to let the pressure inside the tube be completely released. Second, wipe the excess silicone from the end of the tube. And connect them with the mixing tubing. Third, under manual control, click Home X and Home Y button to zero X-axis and Y-axis. Press +10 in Z-axis to increase the distance between the printing plate and the nozzle by 10 millimeters. And then press Home Z button to zero Z-axis for nozzle distance calibration. Check whether the valve is open or not. And check whether the EI axes are selected at the same time in the extruder block. After that, we can start to extrude the material. When extruding, click +100 button 13 times in extruder block and wait for the motor stops and then leave it for 5 to 10 seconds. If the material doesn't flow out of the nozzle, click +100 button again in extruder block and observe if it comes out. If not, repeat clicking +100 button until the material flows out. This step will perform slicing software operation and model printing. Click Add STL file to import the model under the Object page. And then you can translate, copy, scale, and rotate the model on this page. After importing the file, click Configuration under Slicer page and press Import button to import the default parameters of USB drive with the file name S053. In addition, for the parameter description part, please refer to Slicer configuration document. Next, under Print Settings, select S053 for parameters, 15 for speed, and 30% for infill density. Besides, under Material Settings, select SIL5070 for flow and 2-part LSR for cartridge. Then click Start Slicing to slice the model. After slicing, under Preview, we can visualize the layers and have printing time, material consumption, and other information under Printing Statistics. In addition, speed, infill density, and flow are the parameters that often affect printing. So if there are problems with the model during printing, it is recommended to change these 3 parameters first, and each time change 1 parameter. Place 1 release film on the printing plate and fix its 4 sides with tape. After that, under Manual Control tab, press +50 in Extruder to extrude the material. Make sure that the material flows out of the nozzle, and then we can press Start Printing to print the model under Preview tab. Okay, so now let's introduce the operation of the LCD panel interface. The most important functions of the LCD panel interface include XYZ axis and the movement and zeroing of the E and I axis, opening and closing of switching valves. Then there's a print section of our SD card. And now we'll show you the movement of XYZ axis. First, let's click Enter the motion. Then we go back to Move. Here we can see that we can move XYZ and EI axis. Then if we want to move the X-axis, we click on the X-axis. And after entering, you can choose the distance you want to move. If you need to move 10 millimeters, click to enter, using our button to do the moving part. If you don't need to move anymore, click again to go back to the previous page. Okay, so we'll do the homing again, and it is in homing. There are home X, Y, Z, and home E and home I. Then we click on the home X first. Then X will zero itself automatically. If you need to go back to the previous page, you can go straight to the top of motion and click again, and you're back. Then if you understand all the function here, if you want to go back to the previous page, just press this option at the top. Second is the opening and closing of our on-off valve part. It is mainly to control the nozzle. If it keeps dripping out, then you can close the valve to stop the material from dripping. Then if we need to keep it dripping, we just press the on-off valve to turn on. Then open silicone valve means open the valve. Close all valves means close all of it. If you don't need it, click Man. Next, we're going to do SD card printing. Then we insert the SD card directly into the left side. This place, after pressing down, the system will automatically read the SD card. So, print from media will be available in the options. After clicking on it, we can see all the files we need here. Then click directly on the file you want, and you can start printing. If you don't need it, click on the top of the main menu, and then go back to the previous page. Therefore, this is the tutorial of operating LCD panel.